The movie opens up with a very long intro with Deadpool sending a bunch of TVA agents to meet Christ while dancing to Ba 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 by NSYNC. And this fight scene was hilarious because this nigga Wade was using the OG Logan's dead skeleton as his weapon. And I'm not gonna lie, he cooked up. The fight was hella gory, a lot of blood and decapitation happened, but overall the movie kicks off with a bang. We then cut back to a slight preview as to what exactly he was doing there in the first place, which is when we find him on a slight journey trying to find purpose, and we see him in Happy Hogan's office. The one from the MCU or Sacred Timeline, in which Wade was actually trying to apply for a job with the Avengers. Yeah, so basically Happy told him to get the fuck out with his happy ass. Then Wade goes back to his universe and starts working at a car dealership with Peter No Parker, and Peter was basically telling Wade to get off his ass and get back to being Deadpool, and Wade is like, nah, I'ma do my own thing. So he goes home and his friends and girlfriend is there to surprise him for his birthday. He makes a few jokes doing coke with that blind black lady, and that's when there was a knock on his door. Was it the TVA? Yeah. And basically they were telling Wade to come with him because Brody used Cable's little time watch, hop from timeline to timeline looking for a meaning in his life. So after the TVA yoinks Wade back to their base, a nigga named Paradox was like, hello Wade, my name is Paradox. Your universe is doomed because Logan decided to play hero and sacrifice himself, but he was an anchor point in your world. What's an anchor point, you might ask? Well, an anchor point is a very important person in every single universe that if they die, your universe is fucked. So Wade, being the clearly logical guy that he is, asked if he could just replace that Logan with another, and Paradox was like, yeah, that would work. But Paradox didn't want him to because he literally just didn't feel like waiting 2,000 years for the universe to... I'm not trolling, this was dead serious, the plot of the movie. And obviously Wade wasn't going for that, so he broke old dude's nose and took a time watch from one of the soldiers, and that's what led to the scene with Wade murking the TVA soldiers. So after we cut back to when the movie started, he finishes up his fight and uses the time watch to go to different universes looking for a Logan that's the right fit. In doing so, we get a little montage of him going to different universes seeing different Logans. And so we see a comic accurate height Wolverine. You can imagine what that looks like. We see Henry Cavill as Logan. We see a Logan that's a mod boss, and we see a Logan wearing his brown and yellow suit fighting the Hulk, and then we finally get to our sad, depressed, bitch-made Logan.
I beg your pardon?
Who gets insulted by the bartender and he does nothing about it. Wade popped in and he was like, man, if you don't tighten the fuck up, you just gonna take that from him? And Logan literally looked at him and said, yeah. And so Wade was like, ah, hell nah. So then he says, man, if you don't come with me right now, I'ma pop you in the shit. But Logan was really just done with life at that point, so he just says, do it. Wade obviously doesn't do it because we wouldn't have a movie if he did. And Logan just drinks himself until he blacks out. And that would be the end of Act 1.
And from this point forward is when the plot thickens. Let's begin.
So then it cuts to Deadpool dragging Logan into the TVA so Paradox can use him to replace the anchor Logan in Wade's universe. But that's when Paradox says, I lied. So Paradox prunes both of them into the void, and that's when we finally get the long-awaited remastered fight between Deadpool and Wolverine. But right before they could finish, a mysterious figure shows up and tells them that the ops is on the way. And so when the ops do pull up, the mysterious person with aura, who I believe to be Duke Dennis at the time, ended up just being Chris Evans' iteration of Johnny Storm. But he hits us with the classic and starts doing a little unnecessary loop-de-loop before firing a blast at Pyro. But then Pyro takes away his ability to fly and... But Wade and Logan end up getting knocked out afterwards, and they get locked up in a cage with Johnny, which is when he tells them, hey, so all these people work for this Bob, so may or may not be Charles Xavier's twin, so look alive, type shit. When they arrive, Cassandra Nova rolls up in a wheelchair, but then baits the fuck out of Wade and stands up, which is when he makes a joke about ableism and woke culture. She introduces herself as Cassandra and tells them she shared a womb with Charles in which he tried to kill her while in there, and Logan was like, nah. I don't believe it. And then for some fucking reason, Wade decided to be on his Karen timing and started snitching on Johnny and told her all the shit that he was talking. And obviously Johnny trying to keep his life, he kept trying to deny it, but I don't... Yeah, so anyway, after she killed my goat, she gets to yapping about Goliath, who was on his way to eat all of them. And that's when Logan finds a little rocket ship and kickstarted it, which takes him and Wade to safety. When they crash land, Logan realizes Wade was capping about rewriting his past to save his X-Men. And after they squabble for a while, Ryan Reynolds' iteration of Deadpool walks up to them on some nice timing, telling them he got a ride for them to get back to Cassandra, in which they gracefully take it. After riding for a little while, Logan gets irritated with Wade's bullshit and they start fighting for some hours. I'm talking sun up to sun down. These niggas were fighting for hours. Eventually they both pass out from exhaustion, and while they were passed out, they get taken to some cave. And when they wake up,
okay, oh yeah. I'm touching myself tonight.
So yeah, we see Wesley Snipes' Blade, Elytra, Channing Tatum's Gambit, and X-23 talking about how they all got hold by the TVA and how Johnny went missing. And Wade, being the troll that he is, he was like, yeah, I hope you find him. He sounds like a nice guy. They all then form a plan to stop Cassandra. The plan being roll up in a shitty Honda and then throw hands with her army. And all I gotta say about this fight scene is that they cooked heavy. So Wade and Logan then make it directly to Cassandra after fighting through her army, and they somehow managed to convince her to take them home. I really don't know how that happened, but there'll be negotiation skills. Anyways, they drop back to Earth 10005, Deadpool's Earth, and they crash land on a car in the dealership Wade worked at with Peter, who was actually with some customers, and that's when a kid said, "That's Wolverine." And Wade was like,
"You're damn straight it is. Disney brought him back. They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
They went off to the streets of New York when they finally get pinpointed by an army of different Deadpools, which is when we get the literal coldest fight scene in Marvel. Bro, this fight had me on the edge of my seat, dude. Niggas was dying, getting sliced, shot, punched, kicked, all of it. After some time of fighting, they get to this bus where they were just killing a bunch of Deadpools inside of it. And after they get through with them, we get a fire-ass shot of Deadpool and Wolverine jumping out the back of a bus. And in this moment, I felt like a kid living a fever dream, bro. Rosa Parks would be proud. I'm not 20 years old, but the fact that I had to wait my entire life just to see Hugh Jackman in his iconic mask because apparently they thought superhero costumes was wacky back then is honestly ridiculous. And I'm glad this man Ryan Reynolds made it happen. Everybody say thank you, Ryan. Anyways, enough with that. After they finish fighting the Deadpools, they all obviously get back up because, I mean, they're Deadpool, they can't die. But that's when Mr. Oro over here saves their lives. And then that's when Paradox comes in bitching at Deadpool and Wolverine for making it out the void. And before he can finish talking, that's when Cassandra Nova comes through a portal and then sticks her hand in his face. Yeah, forgot to mention she been doing that this whole movie. I swear she did that like 6 times. And when she drags him down to a TVA station in that universe, which was like in the bottom of a subway, and gets him to open the door so she can do something to the multiverse. I'm not gonna lie, my memory's a little fuzzy. I'm not really sure what she was trying to do. All I know is it was gonna destroy damn near every timeline. And so while this was happening, Deadpool and Wolverine were like, hey, oh God, I'm not going for this shit. Me neither. So then they make it to another room where they stop her from actually trying to destroy everything. And that's when we get another cold ass scene between the two of them stopping the multiverse from getting destroyed. Oh, and also she gets vaporized. So yeah, the leader of the TVA, you know, that big black woman, I don't know her name, comes in and starts pressing Paradox and was like, what the fuck you doing? Yeah, I was trying to stop her from destroying the multiverse type shit. Deadpool Wolverine tried helping, but they died. And then that's when Wade was like, no the fuck we did it. Ah, fuck. So then they get to telling the truth, he gets taken, and then they get back to Wade's place celebrating his birthday as one big happy family. And that is the end of the movie. Thank y'all so much for watching all this way. If you want to see more videos like this where I mix in a review along with like a actual video within the review, please be sure to let me know because I got a lot of ideas. But yeah, with that said, make sure you like, subscribe, comment your thoughts on the movie and on this video, and I'll see you on the next one.
I'm touching myself tonight.